everybody? Today, we're coming at you with a really interesting pedal from Airis Effects. This, right here. That. That's right. I have the prototypes. It doesn't have the graphics on it, so slice in picture. Yeah. Alright, so what we have is a super interesting pedal, and I've never tried the 808 HM2 808, or whatever it's called, pedal that Richard did. For some reason, I'm not a big fan of the HM2. Yeah, HM2. Jesus. I'm not a big fan of that circuit. But this one intrigued me. Basically because I'm a huge fan of Nuno Betancourt. And I know when you think Nuno Betancourt, you think extreme, more than words. The rock and roll guy, plays really percussively. But he's a huge rat guy. So when Richard decided, I don't know if he just got himself some good devil's lettuce or something one weekend, and goes, what happens if you take an HM2 pedal that's going to push like an overdrive and put a rat in it, but make it so it controls itself backwards. This is what we get with the Merciless Drive. Okay, so essentially it's a hybrid of an H2M that's boosted with like an 808 and a rat pedal. I have not plugged into this thing yet, so you're going to experience it with me firsthand. Sometimes these goofy pedals, they're a hit, and sometimes they're a miss with my content, but we shall see. What you have going across the top is you have a high, which is an interactive, basically, it's a filter for your mids and your trebles. Your treble. Your mid. I don't know why it's mids, but it's a treble. Yeah, it's a thing. But it's essentially a filter instead of an actual, like, tone knob, right? So it's going to behave a little differently. And then you have your blend, which is going to take it from just a boosted EQ to a rat EQ. And you can kind of, take and mess around with that and get a nice little unique sound. And that's kind of what drew me to this. Is it's going to be unique. It's not going to operate like your normal rat pedal. It's not going to operate like an HM2 pedal. And it's not going to act like an 808. It's going to just be different. And then the next knob you have is your low. And that is basically your control over your bass, but it can also be used as a tight knob. So one way you're going to be a little frothy, and then you're going to come into it. It's going to tentatively be a big mushroom cloud, and then it's going to tighten up while keeping that massive low end. Supposedly. We shall see when we plug it in. The next one is your bite, and that is your treble control. Pretty self-explanatory, right? Yeah. Volume, again, pretty self-explanatory. It's just the overall volume of the pedal. How much you're putting into your signal that you already have going. And lastly, the gain. Now, the gain controls the rat's distortion. So I'm taking it. This thing's always on full gorilla dick as far as the HM2 thing goes. But then again, I don't know. We're going to find out, though. So I'm going to grab my Deviant Linchpin 7-string. That is loaded with an EMG 81X. I'm going to run it through the Redbeard Roadkill and my Arachnid 2x12s, mic'd up with a Sennheiser E609 going directly into that camera right there, which is a Zoom QN8. All right, let's play my little ditty. We'll hear the Batman, and I'll see you soon. Like 15 seconds. All right, see you then. Alright, we are all set up with the Merciless Drive. We're going to do a little tone test. Everything is at noon. So we'll see how I have the Redbeard set up. I got it set up a little funky, so still got some snot to it, but for the most part, it's not pushing very hard. Alright, here we go. Alright, as you can tell, it is a noisy pedal, which means this thing's going to get angry. So I'm going to play with just the blend knob right now. Just going to take it from the Rat to like the full-on deal, or the EQ and boost to the full-on Rat. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. Here we go. Alright, that's pretty nasty. That's just using just the blend. So with the blend cranked, let's just see what the amp sounds like without it and then with it, just because that's pretty interesting, right? Alright, so we're back to middle on the blend. So the next one will be the high. So let's just tinker with that to see what she do. Alright, yeah, you really, 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 really can, you know, filter out a lot with that. That is a great, great knob. The next will be the bite, and that's kind of like a treble control. This should be a pretty easy one to go through. That was pretty interesting. So with it turned all the way down, the treble's all the way up. As you turn it up, you're taking that treble away. That was either the pot's backwards, or that's just a stroke of genius that as I get tinkering with this, we might find out, right? Alright, the next one is a low, and that's your bass control. You can also make it so it's like a tight. Here we go! So I like that. That's awesome. So you're controlling your bass from like 0 to 50, and then all it does is tighten up. That is so cool. It's got plenty of response. You can take away as much bass as you want and add as much bass as you want. But then you get into that thing where you got your bass like growling in really good shape, then you can tighten it up, and it's really gonna make for some filthy stuff here in a little bit. So the next would be the volume. You know what? Let's go right to the gain, and then we'll do the volume. So let's turn the gain all the way down. See what happens. Again, remember the gain isn't like the overall gain. It just controls just the rap portion. Alright, now we're going to play around with the volume. This is always a fun one. It's probably going to squeal like a pig because this thing is a powerful fucking pedal. Here we go. Alright, so it's really not super dynamic, so as you can tell, about halfway up, you get one sound, and then it kind of does a little weird thing between halfway and full. That's probably about taking this thing like to the limit one more time. You know what I mean? Yeah, I went there. Alright, so it has a rat mixed with HM2. So the only way to really do that justice is to crank the blend and the gain and just make some ridiculous noise. Welcome to feedback. It's gonna feed. That is one noisy pedal, but I have the volume jacked, I have the gain jacked, I have the blend jacked. But because there's an HM2 in here, we're just gonna do it. We're gonna crank this motherfucker. Jesus. that is ridiculous. Alright, I'm just going to try to dial something in and see if we get something groovy going on. Yeah, here we go. That didn't take very long to get something cool dialed in. This is a cool pedal. Yeah. Richard nailed it. He just fucking nailed it. This thing's fantastic. So you ask yourself, what is this going to cost me? If you are in Canada and you play with Monopoly money, it's 219 Monopoly men, or whatever the hell you would call it. Alright? I believe it's like a burnt orange. It's like 2 of those and then some random other shit. It's 2 burnt orange. Alright. And if you're in America, it's $162. That is worth $162. This pedal right here, if you like the crusty stuff, if you like interesting stuff, if you like to layer, this is badass. And it's not just for like death metal guys and hardcore guys and noisecore guys. If you dial this thing back, you can tell this by the... You know what? I gotta show you because someone's like, hey, you can't make that work like that. I can already hear you fucks. Here we go. So yeah, you can do Bentoncourt on this thing all day long. Which means I have a soft spot for this thing, because it does the filthy, it does the rock, it'll go grunge, It'll go full gorilla dick. It's crazy. The pedal is really, really cool. It is called the Merciless Drive. It is by Airis Effects. Builder is Richard Slits out of Canada. That's right. He's up there, eh? But anyway, very cool guy. Super cool builder. I don't know. I love his work. I've got so many of his toys. So many of his toys. Anyhow, thank you all for tuning in. If you're still hanging out for my shit show, please subscribe to my channel. Alright? Very cool. I'll catch you next video. Later.